Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and welcome to another Transforming the Tarot. Today we will be continuing the process of turning my Akashic Tarot into a handmade oracle deck. So today I thought we would work on some fall cards because fall is in full swing and I'm just, feeling that energy for this time of year. So as usual, we're going to try to do 3 cards in our Akashic Tarot. And look at this, you guys. Let me show you here. This is what is done. This is all that's left. And there are, what does it say? 62 cards in this deck. So we're getting close to have done almost the whole entire deck. And maybe when we get the whole thing done, we'll actually go and take a look at all of the cards that have been created. Now, there are some cards that I have created off camera before I started filming this whole process. So you'll get to see some things that you haven't necessarily seen on camera. But I thought that might be fun to check in with at some point. So I have my 3 cards that we're going to be redoing today. And as always, I am going to do them in stages because that allows for the glue to dry in between. And we'll do it together. So I have a new paper pad here that I picked up from the craft warehouse. It was actually on sale, so I didn't even pay that much for it. And it's just got some wonderful fall papers in here. They are double-sided, which I tend not to like to use the double-sided ones on the card because one of the sides is kind of wasted, but you do tend to get a lot of beautiful papers with these double-sided ones. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I thought maybe we would take a couple of these sayings and let those be the focus for our cards. So as these cards are progressing, basically what I'm doing is I usually find a saying of some sort that I want to use in order to build the card around, and that kind of creates that the oracle card itself coming from the message. So a couple of these I really like. I pretty much like all of them. And I so need to go through and make a list of the cards. Maybe I did. Let's see. Was I thinking ahead? I think that perhaps. So this is my crafting traveler's notebook that I created. And I feel like I did. I made a list, or I started a list of cards that I've created in here. So, and these are just the keywords that were on the cards so I can make sure that I'm not repeating. Whoops. So look, I was actually being prepared. So I feel like I have a grateful, even though I do really like that. Let me see here. Of course, they're not in alphabetical order or anything. I do have a grateful heart. And we have be thankful. I feel like maybe those two could actually go together. Again, we have gratitude. We have fall harvest. Hello, pumpkin. I like be the sunshine. And this is always kind of the hardest part, is figuring out what cards I want to, what words I want to use. I do love this size paper pad, especially for this project, because you get a lot of different papers and they're, perfect size even if you want to cover an entire card with one. So I think that works really well. And looks like these are duplicates, so I'm going to set those aside. So we have hello, sweet autumn, thankful, grateful, blessed. That one might be a good one. Let's pull that one. So grateful for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start with this one because I want to get this glued down because I do like that it says treasure this moment. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue this one down into this corner, and then we'll set it aside and let it dry so I can kind of work with some of these other cards here. So generally I don't cover a whole card in one sheet of paper, but this time we're going to, and then we'll layer over the top of it. So I want to make sure I'm going to line up with my edges here, because the more lining up I do here, the less trimming I have to do later on. And I did get the Treasure This Moment, so we'll go ahead and set that one aside and let it kind of dry. And let's see what we want to do with these guys. So I really like the Grateful. I think it's the flower that I like. So let's see if we can find some papers that might go well with that one. So this one goes pretty well, and I need to make sure that I'm looking, because see, these are double-sided. So now we just need to figure out how we want to go about this. So that is a lot. I actually want to pull in some yellow, not this orange color. Okay, so I have a couple of different yellows here. This is just a sheet of yellow copy paper, which I think might be too light, and this is scrapbook paper, and I think that's gonna work a little bit better. Because this is almost a little much. I might be able to add just a little bit of that in here, but it's a lot. So I think that I'm liking this on top. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of roughly cut out some here. And I'm gonna tear that off. If I tear it that way, I get the nice edging that I like. And because it's fall, we might need to pull out some inks. I love how I always turn the cards around the right way, even though it doesn't matter. The backs are reversible, and I'm gonna cover up the front, so it doesn't really matter whether or not I get it the right way, but I tend to do that. And let's just clip off a little bit of this one as well. Oh, look, it matches. Make sure I'm not clipping into my card. And I do this obviously because this sheet of paper is big and awkward and hard to work with. So by getting them down into these little strips, it's easier for me to work with them. So I'm thinking that it's gonna go there. I think that's the straight side. Try to keep my straight sides together because it's a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to see. And I need to like cut this off a little bit straighter because I cannot see my lines. So if that is the bottom, let me pull that in to take up the majority of it. That there, and I do think I want, let me go that away. And really, we're just having a play here. Just playing. I feel like this is almost too plain. Doesn't that figure? Almost too plain. Like, I do like this. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure where that needs to fit in. Because I kind of like that, but this feels blank, doesn't it? Like it feels like the keyword should be down here. And it's just kind of bugging me, actually. Kind of bugging me. So I do really like, I wish this flower was bigger. Somewhere right here. That I think is better. And that I think I like. So, you know, sometimes what you think you're gonna do, you don't end up doing it all. Okay, so I need to get some of these glued down so I can see what I've got going here. I think I want to bring it like way down. Like maybe even, well, I'm gonna have to trim that because that glue just set like as soon as I put it on there. That's what I forgot. I forgot my trusty ink. This one is the Gathered Twigs, which is the one I use. That's the wrong stamp. This is the one I use most of the time. Oh, maybe it's not. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Okay. So I'm gonna very carefully try to ink this here because I didn't want that. I'm gonna kind of move the color tone from this lighter down into the darker here. So I'm just gonna kind of ink it up a little bit towards the bottom so we get that little shift in color. All right, so that's there. I want to do, maybe I actually want to leave that one white. I think I do because that mimics that tonal shift. So I'm just going to run a bead of glue across here. And again, like I've said, I think before in some of these other videos, I don't worry about gluing too terribly much just because I am going to be covering these in contact paper, clear contact paper. So that keeps the images in place as well. But I probably shouldn't have done that because I have an overhang here, and so now I can't see where the top of the card is, so I'm just going to kind of guess. Because I don't want to lose I don't want to cut off too much of this. So there, yeah. Okay, that I'm a little bit happier with. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll trim these up to fit. Okay, so let's move on to our next card. And what do we want to do with this one? I'm thinking that I want to make this one just a nice kind of square in the center maybe. But I think I need to trim it down a little bit because I think it might be a tad big. So let's go ahead and round those corners. And I think for this one, what we're going to do is have the top and bottom be in this red color, this creating a frame in the middle. Not that it matters. So now if I go the opposite way, and look what I just did. So again, best laid plans, right? Was not paying attention. And I just pulled that way too small. So maybe what we'll do here is go ahead and let it be over the top of both of those, because I tore this too small. My initial idea was to have it be full frame, but yep, wasn't paying attention. Doing these types of cards is that it doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to go ahead and ink these because I don't want that bright white, because it has bright white here, so I want it to stand off of it, not blend in. Oh, almost didn't make it big enough. And this is going to go right in the center. Okay, so I'm going to lay that in there. And as usual, try to remember to wipe the glue, set that aside, and let it dry while we go back to our first card that I totally forget now what I was going to do with it. So maybe we can, like, I'm just not fond of all this excess going on around here, but I do like where it says treasure this moment. So maybe we can cover up a lot of it. And see, now that looks weird, and that should be in the center. So what we're gonna do is very carefully see if we can get this up, because I changed my mind, and sometimes that happens. And usually, if you're careful, okay, yeah, because I don't really like the rest of that. So what I want, and I don't want to use my slide trimmer, so maybe what we'll do is let's tear it, because I don't really want to put a blade through this, and that just doesn't thrill me. It just doesn't. And then I'll trim this one because that side is straight. And this probably going to have to garbage because it is all sticky now. Okay, so let's ink that up a little bit. Yeah, I do like that better. So now I've got a keyword. Now I've got a keyword that almost feels like it fits that card better, but sometimes that happens. Treasure this moment. So what do we have in terms of our fall paper? That feels like treasure this moment. I do like that one. And see, a lot of the times, what I think I'm gonna do and what I actually do, two totally different things. Sometimes that happens. Now that I've done that, I see that often, right? Now that I've done that, there's all the other little guys. Oh my, here they are. Maybe I will pull out. See, now that I did that, this feels more in line with this particular image. This thankful, grateful, blessed with the pumpkin. I feel like that works. And since I have multiples of these, let's just do it. Let's just do it. It has a button on it. That's kind of cute. But I'm gonna pull it off. And I try to tear straight, but you know, it doesn't always happen. Yeah, hard to pull them up. Okay. And for right this 5 minutes, I'm gonna leave the extra on it just in case I decide I do want that pop of red on there. But I do like the pumpkin. And that red's gonna have to come off. I'm almost positive. And ink it. Okay. Oh my goodness. Where is the rest of this sheet? There's another one of these. Maybe I need to get the whole one. Let's see what's on the top of it. Because, oh my goodness, you guys. Nothing I do ever comes out right. So if I do the whole sheet rather than the one pumpkin, and then I'll get a little bit where it says October, but I can cover that up with this and maybe some other layering. Just completely starting over. But that's okay, you know, sometimes this happens. Sometimes what you think you're gonna do, what you actually do, two totally different things. And sometimes, like I said, best laid plans don't always work out the way you think they are going to or the way you want them to. Let's let that one chill for a minute while I go back to these other ones and figure out what I want to do with them. And I need to trim this guy down. That corner feels like it got cut kind of funky. And it did. Okay, so hello, sweet autumn. Not loving it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It needs something. It's too plain. Rolling with it because it's kind of cute. Not sure what it means, but I do kind of like it. It's interesting. Lots of textures, lots of layers. Do like that. Okay, so I think that one is good. That one's done. Okay, so what I like is that these all look like little tabs. So I'm gonna cut this one out. And this one. Okay, so I want the word harvest. And then we're gonna do, so all of that to get these little bitty words. Harvest with gratitude. And I feel like that goes better with the pumpkin. And this card just doesn't want to have a keyword on it. It's not feeling it. Maybe we can do the treasure this moment on this card. This is just, this has been a mess. It's not really working so well for me. Maybe we can find a flower, or, oh, I do like the butterfly. Of course I would, but I already have a butterfly card. And I feel like it is even that butterfly. I should probably check. Curiosity. I already have a big butterfly. That's a big fat bummer, because I do kind of like the butterfly. I kind of forgot I had all these, to be perfectly honest. Forgot I had them. Okay. yeah, oh well, we're going with the butterfly because it's working for me and I like it. Can I ink this butterfly though he's kind of white. Oh yeah, he inks. Ink him up, can make him a bit darker. Okay. Inking my fingers again. All right, I feel like we're making progress on this card. I feel like that ended up working out pretty well. Okay, so we have the tag Harvest with Gratitude here that I feel like needs to be on one of these wood backgrounds as soon as I find where the wood background is. So if I put this up here, because I have it, might as well use it, and I put that right there. That I'm liking. So maybe this card will come together after all. Sometimes I feel like if you just stick with it long enough, if you just keep messing with it, it eventually works its way out. And I wish this was a bit more torn. I glued that and it didn't stick at all. So maybe this card, you guys, this card is giving me fits. It's just doing me in. It's doing me in. Oh yeah, much better. I just like that torn look. And do we need anything at the bottom? I'm not really sure that we do. I think sometimes simpler is better. Okay, so I finished up the cards that we were working on, and I did just a couple of extra ones just because, you know, I just felt called to kind of do them. So I thought we would take a look here. So here we have the Treasure This Moment card that we created, and I've not yet covered these in contact paper, and you'll see why here in a moment. Here was the Hello Sweet Autumn. This one I'm not entirely sure about, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I like it, but I'm not sure it really fits with what I'm going for. Here is the Harvest with Gratitude with that big pumpkin, which is really cool. And then here are a couple of the extra cards that I created. This is the Retreat card, which I thought was really interesting. And then here are just a couple of cards that I don't actually have any titles for yet. So in this deck, I do have a few cards that I haven't put titles on them yet. I've just kind of felt called to scrapbook them. So I went ahead and did that. And that's the reason they're not in contact. I don't have any contact paper on them yet. This was another one that I created. And the last one, which is really quite bare still. I like the colors. I want to cover up part of this text, I think, but outside of that, I'm not really sure what else I'm going to do with it yet. So I thought we would just, you know, take a peek at them. So that is kind of the extra cards that I created. I think that one was an extra card too. And the 3 cards that we created on camera. So I hope that you enjoyed this process. We are getting close to the end of the box of cards. So maybe for next month when we get to the end of the year and I do the last round of cards for this year, maybe we'll take a look at the whole deck as it sits at that point. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.